Many people dislike Dungeoneering because it's thought to be difficult to train or due to the nature of the skill requiring a lot more input than other skills which can simply be AFK'd. For this reason many avoid it, but you really shouldn't. Here's why. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. The first and probably most well-known reason to train Dungeoneering is to get access to a variety of resource dungeons. There are resource dungeons that fit both skilling and combat needs. Now you could technically go throughout your Runescape journey without ever using one, but you shouldn't, as certain dungeons can speed up banking trips, save you time, offer extra training spots, or have item spawns you might need as an Iron Man. You unlock a resource dungeon by quite literally walking there and going inside. Given that you have the required Dungeoneering level, you will be able to enter, and upon your first entry, you will also receive a chunk of experience. Alternatively, you can teleport to any resource dungeon infinitely if you have 99 Dungeoneering using the Skill Cape perk. Otherwise, you can teleport to these dungeons using a Horde Stalker ring. This ring is obtained as a drop from a few methods, but the main method is by using a preening Ibis card during the single D&D. This ring gives you 8 teleports to all resource dungeons you have entered before and can be recharged for 10,000 tokens. Let's quickly go over some great examples of good and useful resource dungeons, starting with Limpet Root spawns, which is perfect for Iron Man, or if you want to make about 1 million plus GP per hour, you can collect these and bank them as a starter money making method. As the first location only requires level 20 Dungeoneering to access at the Hill Giants, and the second location only requires level 65 in the Varrock sewers. Limpet Roots are high in demand and for that reason are expensive, as you use them in super strength and regular strength potions. Next up, at level 45 Dungeoneering, we have the Mining Guild resource dungeon, which has 5 Luminite and 4 Dracolive rocks. This place is excellent for mining training or free to play money making without having to teleport to a variety of different locations or having to walk longer, as the bank is just above in Falador at the Artisan's Workshop. This is also the reason it's so good. Once your ore box is filled up, you can simply go back up, empty your ore box and go back down. It's really that simple, and it does save you some time on banking. Next up, at level 75 Dungeoneering, we have the Alcarid Mine resource dungeon, which is the absolute best place and easiest place, if you have the Dungeoneering level of course, to get access to Nechrite ore without having to be in the wilderness or going through the desert. Apart from that, you also have access to Dracolive rocks, precious gem rocks, and Impling spawns, which I think are good if you're an Iron Man. I could be wrong though, I don't really play Iron Man mode, so I wouldn't know for sure, but they probably have a use for Iron Man accounts. Next up, at level 95 Dungeoneering, the Garaja resource dungeon located in Elf City, requiring level 95 Dungeoneering. Now, the Garaja Horde Stalker gives you a free Dungeoneering card every single day, and there's a Bloodwood tree inside which you can use for criminal bolts. There's divine locations of all types, including really low level ones, and if you don't agree with the ones that are in that world at the time, simply hop until you find the one that's right for you. This resource dungeon is incredibly useful for all types of accounts. Now let's go over some combat related resource dungeons that you can use for all your combat needs. Again, I won't be mentioning all of them, but a couple of ones I think are worth mentioning. First of all, level 55 Dungeoneering, we have the Hellhound resource dungeon, which has a lot more spawns and is a lot better experience, charms, and hard clues, if you're farming clues, per hour than the other spots outside. At level 60 Dungeoneering, in the same Tavli dungeon, you have a Blue Dragon's resource dungeon that gives you access to plenty more spawns and a bunch of Blue Dragon skill spawns, which you can pick up and use in the Herblore skill. For those wondering, if you grind the Blue Dragon skills, you get the dust, and that dust can be used for weapon poison and anti-fire potions. At level 80, you get access to a bunch more Metal Dragon spawns, which are separated, which is better if you're doing a task for, let's say, just Iron Dragons or just Steel Dragons, or perhaps even Mythril Dragons if you've completed the Elite Dungeoneering achievements. Great spawn, requires level 80 Dungeoneering, which is quite high for such a mid-level Slay creature, but nonetheless, if you have the Dungeoneering level, you can access this location, while others cannot. At level 85 Dungeoneering, you of course get access to one of the age-old moneymakers, being Frost Dragons. Not much more to be said here, other than these creatures can physically not be killed outside of this dungeon, apart from the Dungeoneering skill. If you don't have the personal Slayer dungeon with someone else's souls in there and you don't want to kill these Calgarian demons in the wilderness, well then you need level 90 Dungeoneering to do them in the resource dungeon. And of course there are plenty more like the Mauritania Slayer Tower dungeon or this one, which I can't actually access because it requires 115 for Edimu. In short, resource dungeons are useful and sometimes even essential for Slayer. The resource dungeons aren't the only thing Dungeoneering has to offer. No, the Dungeoneering reward shop has plenty of useful things for combat and skilling, and some of which are very relevant in the current game, even though Dungeoneering is an old skill. First up, we have the Bone Crusher, which arguably isn't that useful, but it's a drop cleaner and that's great, especially when added to the tool belt for 500 Slayer points. In combination with the Demon Horn Necklace, you can get unlimited prayer from monsters that drop bones, because the bones that are crushed from your Bone Crusher gave you prayer through the Demon Horn Necklace. Perfect for a bunch of AFK Slayer and combat training methods. Then we have stuff like the Charming Imp, which is honestly essential and you shouldn't be playing the game without it because it picks up all of your charms and crushes the other ones you don't want or need for summoning experience. We also have Skilling Scrolls, which literally save you millions, if not tens of millions, of supplies when going for 99 in crafting, construction, herblore, or even 120s, it doesn't matter. These are definitely something you should be getting before going for 99 in any of these skills. We then have the Advanced Gold Accumulator, which when added to your toolbelt will mean that you will never ever have to pick up gold coins from the floor ever again, which is just amazing. It does take a tax of your GP, but that doesn't matter as it's quality of life, and you'd be surprised at how many coins monsters drop that you're missing out on because you're not picking them up. And there's plenty more available in the shop, like tier 80 augmentable weapons, which might be a good alternative if weapons are too expensive at that tier for you, as token farming in Elite Dungeon 1 is a lot faster than actually making money sometimes. It depends on how expensive the item is you want. There's plenty more like the upgraded gem bag that can hold gems, herbicide, the Spirit Cape passive, which you get if you place it in your bank or in your player-owned house cape rack. So if you want those items, you're going to need to train Dungeoneering and get a certain amount of tokens to buy the items. Yes, some of the items do have a Dungeoneering level requirement. Now this isn't the only shop where you can buy stuff for your Dungeoneering tokens. We also have the Elite Dungeon Reward Shop, which includes Coraggio cards, Dragon trinkets, player imports items, lucky charms for the Elite Dungeons, certain drop enhancers including the Vital Spark drop enhancer, which is really good for the corrupted creatures in the Sovereign Slayer dungeon if you fill up your entire chest, or for the Magister of course. It can make you a lot of extra money in the long run, and these are definitely worth your Dungeoneering tokens. You can also buy the ability to craft certain things, including Blackstone arrows, magic notepaper, also known as enchanted notepaper, improved scrimshaws up to 4 hours, the Elite Dungeoneering outfit, where you can then make it with the pieces, and a lot of really good stuff. All in all, it's pretty obvious that Dungeoneering is one of the most useful skills in the game for literally any type of player. It doesn't matter if you're a scaler, you're an Iron Man, you're a PVMer, it will have some use for you in some shape or form, and that use is really impactful on your account. For that reason, this entire video is basically an ad to train Dungeoneering. And if you are interested in training Dungeoneering, I do have a very in-depth, full guide with all of the information you need to train up the skill. And if you want to farm tokens instead, I'll leave that link in the description below. But I would highly suggest training Dungeoneering normally as well, because it's a lot faster than leveling through elite dungeons. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it interesting. If you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.